Saturdays and soccer, one of the best 1-2 combos you could ask for on a day like this in Dahlonega, Georgia. Welcome to the UNG soccer field at Lynn Cottrell Park for another edition of Nighthawks Soccer, as the men's team returns home for a Peach Belt Conference showdown with Georgia Southwestern in a rematch of last year's PBC tournament quarterfinal, as both of these teams are trying to pick up a win here in front of the Nighthawk faithful in the Gold City. Glad to have you all with us today alongside the rest of the NSN team. Robert DiClemente on hand for you this afternoon. The in-conference portion of the regular season schedule has kicked off for most PBC teams, North Georgia being one of them. The Nighthawks opened their in-conference schedule on Wednesday in an 0-2 loss to Lander on the road. That game was tied 0-0 going into halftime, but early on in that second half, the Bearcats were able to break through on the scoreboard to cement the win, despite a late-game comeback effort from North Georgia. And on the visitor side, Georgia Southwestern remains undefeated through their first 4 games of the season. 2 losses and 2 ties. One of those ties coming in their last game against Alabama Huntsville on the road. So with the stage set, these two squads have a decent amount to prove today. The Hurricanes, with this being their Peach Belt Conference opener, they're looking to start that portion of their schedule off to a good note and establish themselves as a force this season with their undefeated 2024 streak on the line today. And the Nighthawks looking for a much-needed in-conference win and a win at home, both to be the first of the regular season as they try to recapture some of the consistent success we saw from them last year. So we should be in for a fun one this afternoon. Again, glad to have you all with us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. 86 degrees in the Gold City. Really could not have asked for any better conditions to play in here this Saturday, as both teams are getting ready to take the field here. Like we mentioned in that opener, a rematch of the 2023 Peach Belt Conference men's soccer tournament quarterfinals. That was a thriller a little less than a year ago back here at the UNG soccer field between North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern. Nighthawks were victorious in that one, advancing to the semifinals for the first time since 2017. As we are underway here in Dahlonega, time is 2:07. And this game is going to immediately start out with a throw-in for Georgia Southwestern, as DJ Shin heads this one out of play. Shin, a new face for the Nighthawks this season, traveling thousands of miles from Seoul, South Korea to come to Dahlonega to play. Gets the start this afternoon for Coach Lilich. Here on Family Weekend, we got a great crowd on hand for you. We should have a great crowd for both the men's and the women's soccer games here at Lynn Cottrell Park. And Family Weekend always tends to bring out some of the biggest crowds of the season here, especially for our fall sports for men's and women's soccer. Nighthawks with possession. Forced into their back line, with this one being sent to midfield. That was Vukashin Lukovic. Now push back to Owen Wallace. So when you look at North Georgia through their first 5 games, they're 1-3-1, won their season opener, and have been going through a bit of growing pains since then. But this start is similar to what we saw last year from Coach Lilich's first season as the interim head coach. North Georgia was 2-3 through their first 5 games, but it was really around this time that, where we really saw something click with this team. Something changed, and then from there on out, the Nighthawks really played like a different team from that point forward. Now, they saw the most success during the regular season, during that 4-game winning streak last year. But it wasn't long before then. The 6th game of the season came around. This team had some time to get things buttoned up and figured out, and they were able to turn that 2-3 start into 9 wins. It's possible we could see the same thing here. Nighthawks adding pressure early to this Georgia Southwestern back line. This is crossed in and deflects off of the hands and the chest there of Kassin. So it's going to be an early corner opportunity here for North Georgia. And these are the kinds of opportunities that The Nighthawks have to capitalize here, especially early in this game against Southwestern. Only a few minutes into this game and already have a good opportunity here. It's Miguel Romero over there in the corner to take it. As Romero sends this one in, that's headed out of there by a Hurricane. Again, stays in the air by another Hurricane head, and the Nighthawks have another good opportunity here. Here's Romero, boots this one on the ground, and an easy play made there by Georgia Southwestern and Cosson. So it'll be a goal kick for Southwestern. They just decide to roll it out to their back line here. And right out of the gates, Georgia Southwestern has looked like a team reborn this season. Only won 2 games in 2023, finished 2-11-3. They've already matched that win total in 2024. They've yet to lose a game yet. Hurricanes coming off that 1-1 draw against Alabama Huntsville, like we mentioned just a few minutes ago. Jose Montegudo coming away with a lone goal in that game for the Hurricanes in the first half. Owen Walls trying to get it to Jorge Sandoval at midfield. He's swarmed by a couple Hurricanes on the play. Hurricanes are now forced back into their back line. As this is just sent out of play by Gravel. It'll be a North Georgia throw-in front of the Nighthawk faithful. Nighthawks trying to find Shin. Shin shoved from behind. It's going to be a foul going against the Hurricanes. So it'll be a North Georgia free kick here at midfield. Wallace trying to get it to Sandoval. Sandoval is going to have a lot of pressure on him. He's already established himself as one of the best young players on this North Georgia squad. As again, this ball rolls out of play. North Georgia will throw in just in front of their bench, or they get this one in. DJ Shin pushes it back to Vukašin Lukovic. Lukovic Jr. out of Starveco, Serbia, transferred to North Georgia from Arizona Western, UNG being his third school in 3 years. Was a standout freshman at LSU Shreveport. Was a Red River Athletic Conference Freshman of the Year, all freshman team selection not that long ago. Here is Sandoval again. He's got 2 players on him. North Georgia, could this be the goal? And they're going to call offsides on North Georgia there on the play. Man, that was a close call there. I think the Nighthawks realized it right away on that play that they had a little bit too much space to work with, and they get whistled for the offsides. So it'll be a goal kick here for Cosson. And just before the Nighthawks let that one fly, you heard the whistle blow on the play to blow that play dead. And the Nighthawks there just firing off under 9 shots a game, which is good for 5th in the Peach Belt Conference, but when you look at where those shots are going, 60% of them are on goal. Their shot accuracy is 9th best in the country. So while North Georgia may not get as many opportunities to let it fly offensively, when they do, they're as dangerous as really any team in the country. Some of the best teams in the country at that top 10 marker. Gravel with 3 Nighthawks on him. Whistle and a foul results from that play, so it's going to be Georgia Southwestern's ball. Early season success is something that the Hurricanes are no strangers to. Last year they went 2-2-1 through their first 5 games in 2023, but like we mentioned before, those 2 wins, the only ones of the season for the Hurricanes. So this is a bit of a prove-it game for Georgia Southwestern. As this ball rolls back over to Costin, he's just going to boot this one over the fence and into the stands here at the UNG soccer field. Yeah, so this serving as a little bit of a prove-it game for Georgia Southwestern, trying to show everyone that they can continue this success into the rest of the regular season, and that this just isn't a repeat of what we saw in the 2023 season. Lukovic trying to find Romero. The Nighthawks are going to be forced back to Lukic in goal. Lukic getting his 5th start of the season. Started every game except for one, where we saw Hazel Lay, a veteran on this North Georgia squad, stepping into the net for the Nighthawks. And that through ball, trying to get that one to Max Mitchell, another standout freshman on this North Georgia team. As Wood tried to find a streaking Hurricane on the play. There'll be a whistle goat against Southwestern. And it will be North Georgia's ball. So when you look at the comparison between the 2 goalkeepers here for North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern, both of them have seen pretty similar time in goal this season. Here is a streaking Max Mitchell. He's got one player on him. He's got to work past him. He takes the shot. It deflects off the back of a Hurricane. Ball almost gets back to Mitchell. And now at the feet of Jorge Sandoval. Sandoval trying to work around a defender. He's got a couple on him. Keeps it on the ground. Tries to find Mitchell. Mitchell's shot is off the mark. Ball stays in play, though. A Nighthawk and a Hurricane trying to track it down there on the left side. North Georgia maintains possession. Here's DJ Shin. Again, trying to find Max Mitchell. A couple bodies hit the turf, and it's going to be a foul going against Georgia Southwestern. And Max Mitchell is a player that opponents are going to have circled every time they face North Georgia this season. He's established himself as a fantastic young player on this North Georgia team. Was named the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week after week 1 of the regular season. Scored 2 goals in the season opener for North Georgia. He's just been such a fantastic addition to this North Georgia roster here in 2024. It's going to be Romero to take the free kick. As he sends this one in, Mitchell's header is off the mark, rolls right. So Costa not having to do too much on that play. He'll collect for a free kick. As we were talking about the matchup between these 2 goalkeepers, in Costin and Lukic. Both have 4 full games under their belts this year, 360 minutes each in goal. Lukic has triple the amount of saves that Costin has at 21 coming into today, compared to 7 for Costin and Georgia Southwestern, but the save percentage is identical, 70% for both of these 2 goalkeepers. So both have proven to be strong forces in goal. Lukic has been tested a bit more than Costin, but both have had pretty strong performances so far here in 2024. Here's Owen Wallace now getting it to Jorge Sandoval at midfield. Southwestern tried to take over there. Nice job by Owen Wallace to slow down that play for Georgia Southwestern. So it'll be a throw-in over there on the far right side just next to the light post for a Southwestern throw-in. Ball continues to stay in the air from the Hurricanes and hits the turf. Nighthawks have numbers, but cut off here by Southwestern. Southwestern now on the attack. Couple bodies hit the turf, no whistle. Shot stays on the ground, and Lukic not having to do too much of anything there on the play to make the stop. So with 31:40 to go, no score yet between North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern. Again, glad to have you all with us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Nothing better than Saturdays and soccer in Dahlonega. DJ Shin finds an open Wallace over there on the right side. And one of the biggest takeaways from North Georgia's first 5 games of the season is that aside from that loss against Converse, the Nighthawks have been in every game that they've played. They've really kept things competitive for a full 90 minutes against Young Harris. Ended up finishing that game tied despite being down a player for most of the second half against Lincoln Memorial, a top 25 team. Really held their own, had a chance to tie that one up in the final seconds of that matchup. And on Wednesday against Lander, North Georgia placed 6 shots on goal to try to mount a comeback in the final 20 minutes of that game. So, of course, while you want to be on the winning end of those matchups, they've really shown time and time again that it's going to take a lot to keep North Georgia from fighting until the very end of the game. So Cossin will just send this one far downfield as he can. And Nighthawk hits the turf and gets domed right in the head. That was Oliveira Pais. On the play is Cossin with the pinpoint precision there. Wrong place, wrong time for Pais. Nighthawks throw in as the aforementioned Oliveira Pais tries to track it down. It will be Southwestern's ball. Raphael, a senior midfielder from Marwil, Switzerland, transferred to North Georgia from Reinhardt, spent 4 seasons there as a standout player from a school just about an hour and a half down the street here from Dahlonega. Had 21 goals and 22 assists in his 4 years with Reinhardt. Had 7 goals in 2023, led the team, was the Appalachian Athletic Conference first team selection. He's definitely in contention to lead North Georgia in assists this year. Led Reinhardt in assists in back-to-back-to-back seasons. And a nice job by this North Georgia defense to stop Georgia Southwestern on that attack there, right over there in the corner of the box. Wood had a couple Nighthawks on him. A bit of a miscue there from Georgia Southwestern's back line. Romero was applying the pressure. He almost came away with the ball on that play. The Nighthawks have numbers here. Here is Jorge Sandoval, the fancy footwork. He's in the box, and he takes the shot. It's deflected by a Hurricane. And Sandoval getting involved early here through these first 20 minutes. Sandoval takes it away again. Here is Miguel Romero. Leaves it for Alejandro De Viena. De Viena is a name you probably know on this North Georgia team. This ball deflects off the hands of Cossin and out of the box. A scary moment there for Georgia Southwestern. They can take a breath as this ball rolls to midfield, but North Georgia's definitely been the ones applying the most pressure here in this first half, especially over these last few minutes. Here's Owen Wallace, gives it back to Lukovic. Nice touch there from Romero to get it to Jensen. Pass a bit too wide left for Owen Wallace. Still no call, and Georgia Southwestern's bench not happy about the no call there, but the Nighthawks are on the run. Kano takes the shot. That deflects off the back of the leg of a Hurricane. Romero pushes it back to an open shin. Now to Max Mitchell. Has pressure on him in the corner, so North Georgia is going to be forced back to midfield and Lukovic. Over there on the far side, it's Dave Vienna. That ball deflects off of a Hurricane, so it's going to be a North Georgia throw-in there. Over there in the shade, finally getting a little bit of shade this afternoon. It is a hot one in Dahlonega, 86 degrees. We are right on the cusp of fall here coming up, but it definitely doesn't feel like it this afternoon. It's one of the warmest days it's been in quite some time. So Southwestern throws in. Here is Sandoval again, who takes the shot, goes right into the mittens of Cossin. You can tell Sandoval's got a lot of momentum here in this game. He's had a couple good looks already. Even with the pressure on him, he's still been able to take advantage of some of these opportunities. Here's Dominguez. Gives it to Block. Now back to Dominguez. Got pressure on him from Kano. Trying to get a through ball here into Mallory. Mallory leaves it. The cross is in, and a leaping catch made by Lukic. That ball was going to be wide anyways, but a smart play there by Lukic to grab the ball there. Nighthawks trying to find Mitchell as this one soars high into the clouds by Wood. Here is Kano. Sweet spin move there. Gets tripped up. As Southwestern tries to take over, it's going to be off the foot of DJ Shin. It looks like it is, just off the foot of DJ Shin for a Georgia Southwestern throw-in. So it'll be Wood to throw in right in front of the North Georgia crowd. Hurricanes trying to find Mallory on the play. Ball goes out of bounds, and it's North Georgia's ball. And you can see Mallory talking with his team here, and every time he gets the ball, he's been heavily pressured from the moment it touches his foot. Kano also very active here in this first half. And putting the pressure on this back line for Georgia Southwestern as this ball rainbows back over to Lukic. Lukic gives it to Owen Wallace. Wallace, a freshman, has seen the field the most this season for North Georgia, logging 415 minutes coming into today. That leads all players on this roster. Coach Lilich has instilled a lot of faith in his freshmen this year, and so far it's looked like the absolute right move for this team. Because getting playing time in your freshman season, your rookie collegiate season, is definitely not easy to do, especially if you're coming into a team with a lot of veterans. And this North Georgia squad does have a handful of veterans, so Wallace seeing the most playing time on this North Georgia team so far is really a testament to how great of a player he is. A couple more bodies hit the turf. The referees here are definitely letting a couple of plays slide. They're definitely swallowing the whistle here a bit here in this first half. So far, it's been a pretty clean first half between these two teams. as we now approach 22 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here in the first 45. Here is Max Mitchell. A great through ball into Jorge Sandoval, trying to work around the defender. And just overpowered a little bit there on the play. It's going to lead to a Georgia Southwestern throw-in. Or a goal kick here, excuse me, as the Hurricanes are going to make a couple of substitutions. North Georgia has yet to make a sub here in this first half. Like we mentioned in the opener, this matchup serves as a revenge game for Georgia Southwestern. The last time they were here in Dahlonega was during the PBC Tournament quarterfinals in 2023, where North Georgia ended their season in a thrilling overtime game. That was a game that could have gone either way, a real heartbreaking loss for the Hurricanes. As we are going to have a whistle and a foul going against Max Mitchell. The Hurricane is slow to get up. That is Jose Montegudo on the ground. He's able to get back up on his feet. So play will continue. It will be Georgia Southwestern's ball. You got to think after that heartbreaking loss in 2023 for Georgia Southwestern, that has stuck with this team, and they're looking to avenge that last season's loss in the playoffs to the Nighthawks here this afternoon. Even after finishing the regular season with 2 wins, Hurricanes still cracked the Peach Belt Conference tournament and almost had that huge upset win over North Georgia. That would have been just a tremendous win for the program. And they had it. They went to overtime, and the Nighthawks were able to come out on top in that matchup. That was really anybody's ball game for, the entirety of overtime. The Nighthawks were able to break through in the first overtime, and then in the second, Southwestern was able to answer back in the scoring column. But like we said, this season they've looked like a team reborn. Still undefeated in 2024 as they send the corner in, but a whistle comes beforehand, and it's going to be North Georgia's ball. You may be able to see behind Lukic in goal. Air Nigel is up this afternoon for family weekend. Lots of festivities going on here at the UNG soccer field at Lynn Cottrell Park. Like we mentioned when this game started, family weekend tends to bring out some really incredible crowds here at the UNG soccer field, especially in a game like this, a rematch from last year where, the last time that North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern faced off against one another, that was one of the most electrifying atmospheres at Lynn Cottrell Park and the UNG soccer field in 2023. So these teams, no matter what extra festivities are going on, they're always going to bring out good crowds, but combining the two with family weekend brings out a significant crowd. Here is Max Mitchell trying to work around a couple defenders here. Some fancy footwork. He takes the shot. That's saved by Cossin. Dives on the turf. That ball deflects off of the palm of his hands, and just a great play there. Stop North Georgia from going up 1-0. And the Hurricanes now with an opportunity to respond, and another great save, this time from Lukic. That shot soars over the goal. And these two goalkeepers for North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern getting busy here over these last few minutes. Cossin with an incredible save, and Lukic responds as he dives to make that deflection off of his left hand. And we are still knotted at 0-0. So North Georgia is going to make a handful of substitutions here as Stefan Shango steps on for North Georgia. I believe Aram Lara has stepped onto the field for the Nighthawks as well. Lara, the reigning Peach Belt Conference Freshman of the Year, He's already become a captain of this North Georgia squad in his second season. Here is Max Mitchell again over on the far side. Ball stays in play after the pressure from Georgia Southwestern. Hurricanes a little too aggressive on the contact as Mitchell hits the turf. So it's going to be a free kick here for North Georgia over there on the left side. Dangerous territory here if you're Georgia Southwestern. This serves as almost a closer corner here for the Nighthawks. This is not the place that you want North Georgia to be if you're Georgia Southwestern. So the usual suspects over there for North Georgia to take the corner. Sandoval over there in the vicinity. Lara over there as well. And so it'll be Sandoval who sends it in. Ball is headed out of there by Southwestern. Lara gets back to it. And another whistle and a foul is going to go against Southwestern as defender kind of wrapped his arms around Lara's waist there on the play. That was Dante Johnson. Gets whistled for the contact. So again, another good spot here for North Georgia on the free kick. Again, it is Sandoval and Lara. And Lara sends this one in. It's headed out of there by Georgia Southwestern. Ball stays alive for a moment. And that was Dominguez who headed that one out of there. Dominguez, the tallest player on the field for any team right now. Southwestern looking to answer. And Lukic, collects this one easy. Now approaching 15 minutes remaining here in the first 45. Still donuts up on the scoreboard in a rematch of last year's PBC tournament quarterfinals. Hurricanes with an opportunity here. They take the shot. That ball deflects off the right crossbar. Stays alive for Southwestern. They're going to have another opportunity here. That shot deflects off the foot of Dave Vienna, who hits the turf. Headed out of there by DJ Shin. And Dave Vienna is down, and he's in some pain over there in the box. So the trainers will come on. The refs have not signaled for the clock to stop just yet. We now approach 14 minutes remaining. And Dave Vienna took a shot there. So the clock will stop with 14:11 on the clock. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time there on that play as the Hurricanes took the shot. It was hard to see where that one really deflected off of, if it was a thigh or his calf, the back of his calf, but it's definitely going to need to ice that one up tomorrow as he's still down on the turf. So with 14:11 to go, still scoreless here in this matchup as both teams kind of retreat back to their benches. A couple of Southwestern players still on the field, having a conversation here with the ref. Dave Vienna up off his back and now onto his feet as the security comes out to try to help him off the field. Dave Vienna, a senior defender out of Jefferson, Georgia, been a staple for the Nighthawks starting lineup, played in 50 games during his first 3 seasons, a hard-nosed defender here for this North Georgia squad. If you've been watching any North Georgia men's soccer games over the last 3 years, you have heard the name Alejandro De Viena more than a handful of times on a broadcast, as he has been a consistent starter for this North Georgia team, and Definitely a glue guy on this North Georgia roster. And so Daviena is able to make his way off the field. Glad to see that he is all right, but he will get checked out by the athletics training staff here on the North Georgia side. And so the senior from Hull, England, Quinn Thompson, will step on for the injured Daviena. Thompson, a transfer from Young Harris, a former Peach Belt Conference rival of North Georgia. As the clock resumes, and the game will continue here at the UNG soccer field. Here's Mikey Jensen with the ball. Gives it off to Owen Wallace. Talking about Quinn Thompson, very similar player to Oliveira Pais when it comes to assists. Thompson had 21 assists in 4 years at Young Harris, 11 just a handful of years ago, almost top 10 in the country. Here is Mikey Jensen, who finds an open Thompson, who just came into the game. Thompson takes the shot. That's deflected by Cossin. Cossin just went vertical there, or horizontal, I should say, on the play to make the stop. Quick reflexes there, but this is going to lead to a North Georgia throw-in over there in the far corner. Nighthawks are going to make another substitution as Max Mitchell will step off. And Tyler Vitelli steps on the field for North Georgia. Another familiar name on this North Georgia squad. As the cross is sent in, headed out of there by Southwestern and cleared to center field where DJ Shin collects. Ball goes over the head of Aram Lara, out of play. It's going to be a North Georgia throw-in, it looked like. We're trying to work quickly here, and Sandoval will leave the throw-in to Thompson. Up against the wall, Thompson throws it into the box. Ball takes a couple bounces before it's cleared by this Georgia Southwestern back line. A Nighthawk and a Hurricane trying to track that one down, and a great hustle play there by North Georgia to keep this ball alive. And that's why Aram Lara, because of plays like that, is the reigning Peach Belt Conference Freshman of the Year. Oliveira Pais on the side hits the turf, and this is going to be another corner opportunity here for North Georgia. It will be Sandoval again. Now the third corner of the game for Jorge Sandoval. They keep it on the ground. Ball continues to stay on the ground. Shango mobbed by two Hurricane defenders on the play. Sandoval tried to keep possession, as we're going to have a whistle and a foul right in front of Georgia Southwestern's bench. Hurricanes working quickly on the attack, and that's taken care of. Nice play there by DJ Shin. Read that one perfectly. Here is Tyler Vitelli, fresh into the game for North Georgia. Vitelli, a junior out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Really took a leap from year one to year two. Scored 4 goals last season. One of just 2 players to play in every game in 2023 for North Georgia, as we are going to have a whistle inside the box going against Georgia Southwestern. And a red card is going to be assessed to Cossin on the play. My goodness, that is just an absolute, that's the last thing that you want to see here if you're Georgia Southwestern. Your goalkeeper, your starting goalkeeper now out of the game as Cossin will step off. So the starting keeper out for Southwestern. They're going to have to make an unexpected substitution here with 10:28 to go. And not only are they having a new goalkeeper come into the game, but they're having to come into the game at this point where North Georgia can take the 1-0 lead. What a turn of events here in this first half. We talked about the matchup coming into this one between the two goalkeepers in Lukic and Kossen, both with a lot of experience coming into this one, and now Georgia Southwestern is going to have to go deep into their bench to find a substitution to come into this game. And the only other goalkeeper who has seen action this year is Juan Ramirez. We'll see who steps on for the Hurricanes here in this huge moment. So Southwestern does get a goalkeeper on the field. And it'll be Oliveira Pais, believed to take the PK here for North Georgia. Pais has yet to score a goal for North Georgia through these first 5 games of the season. This looking to be his first as a Nighthawk. In a big spot here. So it is Juan Ramirez stepping onto the field for Georgia Southwestern. So the clock is stopped with 10:28 to go. A fresh goalkeeper in the game for Georgia Southwestern. Let's see how he does against one of the best assist men in all of Division II men's soccer in Oliveira Pais. Pais shoots and Pais scores! Rafael Oliveira Pais puts the Nighthawks up 1-0 here in this one. Pinpoint precision from Pais. As his first goal as a Nighthawk, a big one here in the first half to give the Nighthawks the 1-0 lead. We were talking about Rafael, just a few moments ago, was a very successful striker for Reinhardt through his 4 seasons over there. Records his first goal as a Nighthawk. Had 7 goals last year to lead Reinhardt, so not surprised to see him back in the scoring column here in 2024, this time with a new kid on here for North Georgia. And so that could prove to be a costly play there from Georgia Southwestern, picking up the red. From our vantage point up here in the press box, it didn't look like there was a ton of contact to warrant a red on Kossen. North Georgia makes another substitution with Harris Osman Basic stepping on the field for North Georgia for the first time in this game. Osman Basic, a familiar face to this North Georgia squad, played with the Nighthawks in 2022 during his freshman season, was a standout young player on this North Georgia squad, transferred and came back to North Georgia prior to the 2024 season. As this is sent in by Thompson. Pais tries to track it down. The Nighthawks applying the pressure, and Vitelli makes a phenomenal sliding play there to stop Georgia Southwestern on that play. And that is a typical Tyler Vitelli play, where it may not show up on the box score or on the stat sheet, but Tyler Vitelli has made hustle plays like that every single year he's been with North Georgia. That just, a perfect example of the kind of player that he is.
Stepping on for the Hurricanes, number 11, Kamani Mills.
Kamani Mills stepping on the field for Georgia Southwestern as the Hurricanes make another late game substitution. Thompson heads this one to Osmond Basic, tries to track it down. Hurricanes send this one out of play. It will still be North Georgia's ball. It looks like North Georgia is going to make a substitution of their own as Mikey Jensen will step off.
Stepping on for the Nighthawks, a freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia, number 16, Samuel Gomez.
So Samuel Gomez now on the field for North Georgia, a freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. A highly touted player coming out of high school. Graduated as the number 11 ranked soccer player in Georgia, number 57 nationally. Was a 2024 GACA 7A first team All-State member, All-County, All-Region selections for Gomez, and does have a connection to Coach Lilich prior to coming to North Georgia. Coach Lilich coached Gomez at the club level. Part of the reason why he's here at UNG. Now under 7:30 to go here in this first half. North Georgia trying to maintain this 1-0 lead going into halftime. Could potentially push that even farther here as Vitelli tried to find Osmond Basic open over there on the right side. Hurricanes trying to respond in transition. Just a couple Hurricanes on the play. A flurry of Nighthawk jerseys over there as this ball soars out of play over the new North Georgia soccer logos that we have just underneath the Jumbotron here at the UNG soccer field. Some sweet new additions to Lynn Cottrell Park coming since our last game here at the UNG soccer field. Came last Saturday on the Nighthawk Sports Network with the women's soccer team going up against Florida Tech in what really should have been a top 25 matchup. Ended up being North Georgia, the 22nd ranked team in the nation at the time, against an unranked Florida Tech team who is now ranked 24th in the country. Osmond Basic leaves it in the shade. This ball crossed in. Shango tries to head it in. This ball bounces on the top of the net. Almost squeaked that one in. Over there in the top left corner of the goal. But it is going to result in a goal kick here for Ramirez. Juan Ramirez, a senior out of Fort Myers, Florida, transferred to Georgia Southwestern from Shaw University. Was a PBC Presidential Honor Roll Bronze Scholar in back-to-back seasons. I definitely think that he was not anticipating coming into this game, at least at this point. Especially, his first duties of the game was to come in and stop a PK from the powerful foot of Pais. Now 5 minutes remaining. Vitelli tries to find a streaking Shango. As Southwestern takes over. Lukic really hasn't been tested too much here in this first half compared to what the Georgia Southwestern goalkeepers have seen. Southwestern's got 5 shots off so far in this first half, 3 of them on goal. Lukic with 3 saves so far in this first half. Southwestern with 4. Another good opportunity here for North Georgia. This one is crossed in, and into the hands of Ramirez. That was Gomez on the play, had some room to operate. Pinched that one a bit too close to Ramirez. Southwestern trying to find Alexander Lozano there on that play. North Georgia's back line doing a good job there, getting on top of that. As we wind down this first half, you really want to see North Georgia maintain this momentum in the final 45 minutes. DJ Shin trying to find Shongo, who almost spun around the defender there. Couldn't keep his foot on the ball. So it's going to be Ramirez here with the goal kick. As Lukovic boots this one to Osman Basic, has it taken away. Ball bouncing back and forth at midfield. Now gets over to the right side. Goes out of play in front of North Georgia's bench. So Southwestern will throw in, trying to find the equalizer here with 2:30 to go in this first half. Southwestern gets it in. And Thompson is there to send it out of play, so it'll be another throw in front of North Georgia's bench for Southwestern. And again, this pesky North Georgia back line doing a good job of taking care of that opportunity from Georgia Southwestern. If you could really call it an opportunity there on that play, North Georgia was all over that one. And this North Georgia back line has done a decent job this year, even with the absence of their all-star Max Garnett out for the 2024 season. One of the best defenders, not only on this North Georgia team, but in all of the Peach Belt Conference, as Vitelli is going to be whistled for offside. Southwestern trying to work quickly here, as we are coming up on 1 minute to go. So 1 minute remains here in this first half. North Georgia trying to maintain the lead going into the locker room. Southwestern will try to make one final push here to knot this game back up at 1-1. Hurricanes push back to midfield. Now 30 seconds left here in the first half. That ball right to the dome of DJ Shin. Now the Nighthawks are going to have an opportunity. This one gets taken away from Gomez. Ball rolls out of play. It will be North Georgia's ball. Lara will throw in. Doesn't look like North Georgia's in a big rush here to try to make something happen. Could make one final push potentially now with 5 seconds to go. This one headed out of there by Georgia Southwestern, and North Georgia will take the 1-0 lead going into halftime. The PK from Oliveira Pais puts the Nighthawks up 1-0 as these two teams head to the locker room in a rematch of last year's Peach Belt Conference Tournament quarterfinals. We've got a great one here at the UNG soccer field. 45 minutes down, 45 to go. We'll step aside for a short commercial break. You're watching North Georgia Soccer on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
All right, show me how you did that again. I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here. At Georgia Heart Institute, our breakthroughs in artificial intelligence could accurately model and predict future heart problems decades in advance, so you can make plans today to be just where you're needed tomorrow.
I'm here.
The future of heart care. We're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
At the heart of America's gold rush stands a beacon of leadership, tradition, and excellence. A university that has always led the way, forging an environment for broad-based academics, world-class athletics, and tomorrow's military leaders. The University of North Georgia. Learning and leadership, passion and preparation, transformation and tradition. We are the University of North Georgia.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by the Northeast Georgia Health System, the official healthcare partner of UNG Athletics. Bryan Properties, serving all your commercial real estate needs. Dahlonega Resort and Vineyard, escape to the North Georgia mountains for your next weekend getaway. Achasta, golf, community, and tranquility. Coca-Cola, the official sideline provider for North Georgia Athletics.
Welcome back to Dahlonega on a sunny Saturday afternoon here in the Gold City as we have game number 1 of our doubleheader here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. The first half is down. North Georgia men's soccer taking on Georgia Southwestern in a rematch of last year's Peach Ball Conference Tournament quarterfinals. Let's take a look at some of the stats from the first half presented by Northeast Georgia Health System. North Georgia goes into the locker room with the 1-0 lead over Georgia Southwestern after a PK from Rafael Oliveira Pais to put the Nighthawks up 1-0. Having to go up against a new goalkeeper for Georgia Southwestern after Costin was thrown out of the game, picked up a red card just about midway through that first half for Georgia Southwestern. And so the Hurricanes having to pivot to their senior goalkeeper early in this game. Definitely changing up the game plan here for Southwestern and going to have to do something different in that second half. When you look at the shots for North Georgia, they already have 10 in this one compared to 5 for Georgia Southwestern. We mentioned how North Georgia, coming into today, only average 9 shots per game coming into today. 5th best in the Peach Ball Conference. They've already exceeded that here, and we still got 45 minutes to play. Georgia Southwestern has gotten 5 shots off. The shots that they have gotten off here in the first half, most of them have been on goal. 3 out of their first 5 shots here in this matchup on goal for Georgia Southwestern. But still, Lukic hasn't been tested too much here in this first half compared to what the goalkeepers have had to go through for Georgia Southwestern, and Costin and Ramirez, who stepped into the game about midway through that first half. When you take a look at some of the other stats in this game, North Georgia, like we mentioned, 3 saves for Lukic and 4 between the goalkeepers for Georgia Southwestern. Handful of corner opportunities for North Georgia, 3 compared to just 1 for the Hurricanes. No yellows thrown in this game, but like we just mentioned, that red card assessed to Costin could be costly for Georgia Southwestern. And we'll see how Ramirez pans out here in these final 45 minutes. Now, despite coming in that tough circumstance for Georgia Southwestern in that first 45 minutes, coming in and having to try to stop a PK from Oliveira Pais. From there on out, he looked pretty solid in goal for Georgia Southwestern. So we'll see how this new goalkeeping matchup pans out here in the final 45 minutes. We have a somewhat quiet day around the Peach Ball Conference as it pertains to men's soccer. Lander tied with Auburn Montgomery earlier today. That game ending with donuts across the scoreboard, a 0-0 tie between those two teams. USC Aiken taking on Shaw right now. That game also scoreless heading into the second half of that matchup. And then Flagler and Clayton State will take on one another to round out today's schedule at 4 p.m. later on this afternoon. And it'll be Flagler's first Peach Ball Conference game of the season. This is the first PBC game of the year for Georgia Southwestern, as all these PBC teams are trying to make a name for themselves early on here in this in-conference schedule during the regular season. North Georgia with the 1-0 lead over Georgia Southwestern. 45 minutes down, 45 to go. We'll step aside for another short commercial break. When we come back, it's North Georgia versus Georgia Southwestern on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
At the University of North Georgia, education is more than just a degree. That's why we understand student success is based on 4 interconnected pillars: academic achievement, sense of purpose, well-being, and belonging and engagement. Each pillar reinforces the others, forming the strong foundation that helps UNG students succeed during their time here. Academic achievement is what happens when students work hard and succeed in their studies. At UNG, no matter what degree you're pursuing, you'll receive support throughout your academic journey. We're here to assist with securing internships and study abroad opportunities, as well as other helpful resources like tutoring and advising to improve grades and prepare you for your future career. As a student, you develop a sense of purpose by exploring your unique strengths and personal values. This self-discovery happens when you join clubs, volunteer for community outreach, and participate in leadership activities. When you connect your strengths and values with your academic goals, you'll be able to make meaningful choices about your educational and career pathways. Well-being refers to the overall state of being healthy, happy, and prosperous. It's defined through 8 key dimensions: career, environmental, financial, intellectual, mental, physical, social, and spiritual well-being. When students maintain a healthy level of well-being across these areas, they can better manage stress and anxiety while enhancing their resilience and leadership abilities. Our Live Well UNG initiative promotes healthy behaviors and strategies for achieving overall well-being. We also understand the importance of belonging and engagement in fostering student success. This means feeling supported socially and connected to others on campus. From community building events to cohort programs and clubs, our goal is to make sure every student feels connected, valued, and empowered. At the heart of the University of North Georgia lies a commitment to academic excellence. It's about achieving dreams, finding purpose, enriching your well-being, and forging lifelong connections. Wherever you are in your educational journey, we are here to help you every step of the way.
Hey Nighthawks, I am fired up to welcome you to the new chow. You are not going to believe what we're about to show you. Check this out. Welcome to the new chow where you are going to eat like Nigel. What's going on in chow? First of all, better flow through this place. Remember the traffic jams you used to be in? 2, better healthy eating choices and better opportunities for to get the foods that you want. And then what's really cool, on the far side of chow are new study and collaboration spaces where you'll be able to hang out with your friends, study for tests, work on projects. And in the outer part of that area is a room with a projector system where you can do big group events. This place is off the hook and you are going to enjoy it.
Welcome back, everybody, to historic Dahlonega, Georgia on this gorgeous Saturday afternoon in the Gold City, North Georgia, with the 1-0 lead over Georgia Southwestern heading into the final 45 minutes. Glad to have you all back with us this afternoon for Game 1 of our Nighthawks soccer doubleheader on the Nighthawk Sports Network. North Georgia women's soccer will be taking on USC Aiken shortly after the conclusion of this game. That game is set to kick off at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Both of these teams trying to come away with the win in front of the Nighthawk faithful here on Family Weekend. Have to look at the previous crowds here from the first handful of games this season, but this is definitely one of the biggest that we've had this year, no question. Here is Quinn Thompson, who crosses it in. North Georgia trying to work early. Now forced back. Great to see Alejandro De Viena back in the game for North Georgia after falling from that injury in the first half. That cross takes a couple of bounces in the box. Ball is still alive for Osman Basic. That ball is sent out of play into the shade behind the light post, and so DJ Shin will throw in. Here is Jorge Sandoval. Had a couple good looks on goal during that first half. North Georgia had 10 shots in that first half. Average 9 per game, like we mentioned during halftime. They've already matched that in the first 45 minutes. Ball is headed out of there by Southwestern as Lukovic retreats back to the ball. Here is Miguel Romero still playing with that cast on his left wrist. De Viena with space, trying to get it to Aram Lara. Couldn't track that one down. Southwestern trying to answer, but a good takeaway there from Sandoval and Lara. Ball finds its way back to De Viena. Could potentially see another cross into the box from Quinn Thompson. De Viena still with the ball. Leaves it for an open Mikey Jensen, and the shot is over the goal from Miguel Romero. Too strong there, as Southwestern just watches that one go past them for a goal kick. And we mentioned in that first half, you want to see North Georgia maintain the pace that they had throughout the first 45 minutes here in the second half. We've seen a couple of instances, whether it's this season or last season, where North Georgia looks like two different teams, in each different half, whether it's the first half or the second half. They change up their game plan a little bit, and definitely want to keep your foot on the gas here. Speaking of foot on the gas, here is Kano with some speed, try to work around a defender. He is pushed to the ground. As Southwestern applied the pressure there. That was Dominguez on the play. A couple touches here between the North Georgia midfield. Get it to Osman Basic. Here is De Viena with some space. Almost looked like he was going to give it back to Lara. Now to Jensen. Osman Basic on the far side. Tries to cross it in. That one may have deflected off of a Nighthawk, so it is going to be Georgia Southwestern's ball. And this North Georgia back line has done a pretty stand-up job. Like we mentioned in that first half, they're going to be without Max Garnett for the entire 2024 season. Had surgery, going to keep him sidelined this year. He's one of those do-it-all players for North Georgia. A pesky defender, also had 6 goals and 6 assists last year, was a preseason all-conference selection this year. And you hear the term glue guy get tossed around a lot in sports, and Max is a perfect example of that. Some new players have had to step up in his place on the field this year. As Osman Basic is going to be whistled for the foul. Osman Basic, a new face, but back in familiar territory here with North Georgia. I mentioned in that first half. Played his freshman season here in 2022, had 4 goals and 2 assists in just 9 games as a freshman. Transferred to Alabama Birmingham at the Division I level for the 2023 season. Scored a goal in 12 games last year and has returned home to the Gold City and is back in a Nighthawk uniform here in 2024. Here is Laura Thompson over there on the right side. Thompson has a defender in front of him, cuts off the pass, and Southwestern takes over, trying to make something happen in transition. As we're going to have a whistle and a foul, the clock will stop, and a yellow is going to be assessed to North Georgia. And it is going to be Mikey Jensen picking up the yellow on that play. Just a little too aggressive on the contact. He was trailing behind the Hurricane midfielder on that play. And there were a ton of white jerseys in the vicinity there on that play. So the odds that North Georgia was going to make a stop, pretty likely there on that play. But the clock stops with 33:09 remaining. So Southwestern's awarded the free kick at midfield, trying to get a through ball in there to Montegudo. And so Southwestern will throw in right in front of the Nighthawk faithful. Johnson throws it in. Alexa Lukic still in the game for North Georgia, holding down the 4-in goal. Hurricanes, if you missed that first half, now onto their second goalkeeper with Ramirez, a senior goalkeeper, now between the goalposts for Georgia Southwestern after Costin was tossed, picking up a red card during the first half. And so North Georgia has the ball at midfield. It is Osmond Basic over there on the far side trying to make something happen, trying to work around a few defenders. That ball takes a bounce, but right into the chest of Ramirez as he falls on top of that one for another Georgia Southwestern goal kick. Head coach for the Hurricanes, Eric Crawford, now in his 6th season at the helm of the men's soccer program, led the team to their first PBC tournament appearance in 2021. Hurricanes have made appearances in the postseason every year since then. A lot of that can be traced back to the coaching of Crawford. Prior to Southwestern, spent 3 seasons as the assistant coach at Northeastern State University. Was a part of some really good Riverhawks teams, both as a player and a coach. Was an All-American on the back line for NSU in 70 career games. As Thompson hooks this one far left to Osmond Basic, who taps it back to Romero. Romero tries to find Thompson. Ball takes a bounce in the box and now out. And again, Southwestern's back line forced to make a play here as a Nighthawk hits the turf. DJ Shin takes a couple rolls, but is able to shake that one off, get up right after the play. So Ramirez just motioning his team back. He tries to boot this one downfield, gets this one well past midfield. As Lukic gives it to DJ Shin. Lukic, a sophomore transfer on this North Georgia squad from Serbia. Came from Truett McConnell. And he was a standout goalkeeper there in Cleveland, Georgia. Started 16 games last season, only allowed 17 goals. Had 91 saves, almost an 85% save percentage to lead the Appalachian Athletic Conference in saves. One of the best goalkeepers in a very talented AAC last year, only as a freshman. Pressure is on over there in the corner as DJ Shin takes the shot, keeps it on the ground, and that's popped out of there by Ramirez. A great opportunity there for North Georgia on the shot. That was, I believe, Kano over there in the area. Shin also had a good look on goal. But still, this is going to result in a corner opportunity here for the Nighthawks. This their fourth of the game. It'll be Sandoval over there in the right corner. And with Romero over there, it'll be interesting to see if they keep this one on the ground or decide to fully send this one into the box. And they do. The header is off the mark, takes a couple bounces, rolls out of play, and it's Southwestern's ball. And Quinn Thompson on the ground with his hands on his head had another good opportunity there, but it's going to result in the Hurricanes' ball. Over 10 minutes gone here in the second half, 34-20 remaining. Southwestern still looking to break through here on the scoreboard. North Georgia maintaining that 1-0 lead. A couple of fresh faces out there for North Georgia compared to who we saw start the game for the Nighthawks. Quinn Thompson starting this second half along with Harris Osmond Basic. And here's North Georgia on the attack in the box. Lara was tripped up. Here is Sandoval has the ball taken away. And that was a good-looking opportunity there for North Georgia as they tried to come away with something as Thompson hits the turf. He's grabbing onto his shin. He is able to get up, though, as Lukovic finds an open Kano who can't keep it in play. And Quinn Thompson is back on the turf for North Georgia. So the clock continues to roll here, and no, it will stop with 33 minutes remaining. Trainers will come out to check on Thompson. Second time that they've had to come out this afternoon. Saw Dave Vienna go down in the first half. Was able to bounce back and starting here in the second. And Thompson was actually the player who came on for Dave Vienna in that first half after he went down for an injury. And Thompson was grabbing onto his leg, looked like his shin, his left shin there on the play. Looked like he was going to be able to keep going, but ended up falling back to the turf. Was in quite some pain there. So the trainers are out to take a look at Quinn Thompson. Another new face on this North Georgia team. He is an example of new faces in new places, stepping up in big moments here for the Nighthawks. 28 new players on this North Georgia team that Coach Lilich went out and brought over to North Georgia during the offseason. Quinn Thompson, one of them. And you can really feel his impact, his immediate impact for North Georgia this season. Again, one of the best assist men in almost all of Division II men's soccer is Quinn Thompson. Had the 9th most assists in 2021 with 11 assists that year. Made the All-America third team, All-Region, PBC All-Conference first team selection. It's now 33:02 to go. Thompson still over there on the sidelines. Looks like he's going to come back into the game in just a moment here. So the clock continues to roll. Now under 33 minutes to go, Thompson able to step back on the field. Great to see that he's all right. But Southwestern coming out of the stop time, trying to make something happen. Ball is cleared by North Georgia. Now is Lozano on the play. Swarmed by a few white jerseys. Thompson picking up right where he left off. Great defensive play there. Forces Georgia Southwestern. They're going to try to attack again. This is sent out of play by Lukovic. You could see him communicating with his back line here, trying to get them all on the same page. If you could see behind the goal there on the left side of the screen, just a fantastic crowd this afternoon at the UNG soccer field. The stadium is full, and the fans have flooded the hills over there behind the goal on the left side of the screen. Trying to find some much-needed shade this afternoon. Here is Southwestern looking for the equalizer. Nobody home for the Hurricanes. The ball stays in play. Ends up at the feet of Osmond Basic. The Hurricanes are putting the pressure on. As Romero is tripped up. And just like in that first half, they are swallowing the whistle a little bit here in this game. Letting some physical plays play out for both sides. Osmond Basic takes the shot, hooks it left. Had a lot of open space there to take the shot. But off the mark there. Another good opportunity for North Georgia. Like we said, coming into this matchup, they really don't average a ton of shots per game. On a per-game basis, just 9 per game. They have 14 now in this one, compared to just 5 for Georgia Southwestern. So not only has North Georgia had their opportunities offensively, but they've done a good job of containing this Georgia Southwestern team, who we mentioned is undefeated in 2024. 2 wins and 2 ties coming into this matchup. This their Peach Belt Conference regular season opener. North Georgia already 0-1 in the Peach Belt Conference after falling 0-2 to Lander this past Wednesday on the road. And so there's a lot more on the line in this game than what meets the eye, as Romero puts the pressure on Ramirez. Ball soars well past midfield. This one may get back to Lukic. And it will be Dave Vienna on the play. You have quite a few things here at stake. North Georgia is looking for their first home win of the season. Went undefeated at home during 2023. Have yet to secure a win in front of the Nighthawk faithful here in Dahlonega this season. But a couple of opportunities to do so. Haven't been able to come away with the win, though. Looking for their first PBC win of the season. Trying to get back in the standings. And Georgia Southwestern, they're trying to remain undefeated, trying to avenge their loss in the 2023 Peach Belt Conference Tournament quarterfinals to North Georgia. A heartbreaking loss in that game for the Hurricanes. It's surprising to see that Southwestern has only gotten off 5 shots so far in this game. Hurricanes have been firing on all cylinders offensively coming into this matchup, both literally and figuratively. Their 12 goals this season is 10th most in the country. They have not been shy when it comes to letting it fly. Almost 19 shots per game for the Hurricanes is the 6th most nationally. And North Georgia so far, through these first about 65 minutes or so, has held this high-powered Hurricanes offense to just 5 shots. But their shots, when they have gotten them off, have looked good. 3 shots on goal for them of their 5 total in this game. Hurricanes are going to make a flurry of substitutions. The Nighthawks will make a couple of subs themselves, as Harris Osmond Basic and Miguel Romero step off the field for North Georgia. Tyler Vitelli stepping on the field here for the Nighthawks. And it looks like Oliveira Pais also back on the field for North Georgia, who put the Nighthawks up 1-0 in the first half after his PK squeaked past Ramirez. Mikey Jensen dumps it off to Dave Vienna. A bit of a miscommunication there between the Nighthawks at midfield. That ball rolls out of play, and it's going to be Georgia Southwestern's ball. Much like North Georgia, it's been a lot of new faces stepping up in big spots for Georgia Southwestern throughout the course of this year. Kainu Samuels, Anwar Benkandi, Jose Montegudo, 2 freshmen and a sophomore leading the Hurricanes in goals scored this season with 2 each. And it's been a lot of new faces stepping up in big spots because of a big loss for the Hurricanes this offseason, which was the departure of senior Chris Salamatu, one of the best players in Hurricanes men's soccer history. Finished his career tied for first all-time in assists, second in points, second in goals. Holds a number of single-season records for Georgia Southwestern as well. Free kick is sent in by Sandoval, punched out of there by Ramirez. Had to come a bit farther out from his spot than Southwestern probably would have wanted him to, but he makes the great play there to push the Nighthawks past midfield. But Chris Salamatu, a big loss for Georgia Southwestern after he graduated after the 2023 season. And so far, the Hurricanes have looked solid without him in 2024, but he's definitely a big player that's going to be missed on the field for the Hurricanes since he has graduated. Pressure on North Georgia in the corner.
Onto the field for the Hurricanes, number 9, Anwar Benkadi.
As we will have a stoppage of time.
Jonathan Bedard, number 26, Axel
25:07 to go. Clock stops. Doesn't look like any card is being thrown or anything like that from the ref. It's just going to be a goal kick here for Ramirez. We are now 65 minutes down here in this playoff rematch between the Nighthawks and the Hurricanes. And you got to think what could have been for Georgia Southwestern in that first half had Caution not gotten that red card to be thrown out, and that big opportunity there where North Georgia was awarded the PK. You know, you don't want to say the game boils down to just 1 or 2 plays, but if this game ends in a 1-0 victory for North Georgia, you could argue that's the biggest play of the game. Here's Quinn Thompson. He's got some space, tries to cross it in. Southwestern on top of that. Daviana keeps it on the ground for Thompson. Thompson back to Lukovic, touches it to DJ Shin over there on the sideline. Nighthawk is tripped up. A whistle and a foul is going to go against Southwestern, giving North Georgia the free kick in a good spot here. We've seen North Georgia with a handful of free kicks in similar spots, especially during that first half. This is exactly what they want, for the clock to continue to roll and a good opportunity to try to extend this 1-0 lead. And it is again Lara and Sandoval over there in the area. And it will be Lara to take it, and that ball may have just missed the fingertips of Ramirez. That one hooked wide right. Could have potentially had a chance to squeak in that upper 90 over there in the right corner, but Ramirez and this back line for Georgia Southwestern didn't have to do too much on that play, and a good job by Ramirez to stay out of the way of that ball and prevent North Georgia from getting their 5th corner of the game. Ball soars in the air, Southwestern on top of it. Johnson tried to track it down. And a rainbow into DJ Shin, stays in play. And a battle for the ball ends in another North Georgia throw-in. Nighthawks are going to make another substitution.
Stepping on for the Nighthawks, a freshman from Gainesville, Georgia, number 25, Edgar Vasquez.
And it is Edgar Vasquez Torres now on the field for North Georgia, making his first appearance in this game for the Nighthawks. A freshman out of Gainesville, Georgia. I believe this is the Nighthawk debut for Vasquez Torres. So you mentioned a freshman out of Gainesville, Georgia. Southwestern may capitalize here on this opportunity. Another good play by North Georgia's back line. And Torres was high school teammates with Andreas Alicia, Angel Sagrero, and Jorge Sandoval. All players on this North Georgia roster. This ball is in the back of the net for Southwestern. The equalizer is good, and the Hurricanes tied this one up at 1-1. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered here if you're Georgia Southwestern. Able to find the back of the net was Jack Malaret on that play. Now with 20:40 to go, this game just got a whole lot more exciting here at the UNG soccer field as Malaret ties this one up. And that was a bit too easy there for Georgia Southwestern. Like we mentioned, North Georgia has to maintain that physicality on the back line that we saw from them in the first half.
Hurricane goal for the number 17, Jack Malaret. Assist goes to number 26, Axel Ambrose Gravel.
So the Nighthawks are going to have a quick corner here, trying to take away any momentum here from Georgia Southwestern. So the corner is sent in. Ball bounces out of play, and it will be another corner opportunity here for the Nighthawks. And we've seen a handful of times this season where North Georgia will score, try to gain some momentum up, and then they had that snatched away immediately. They held momentum for a long time in this game until Southwestern just took it back to tie this game up at 1-1. We'll see if North Georgia can be on the opposite end of that as the corner is sent in. The header is deflected off the fingertips of Ramirez. And it's going to be another corner opportunity here for North Georgia. The players were starting to drift back. That ball clearly went out of bounds on Ramirez. It was a great save nevertheless, but it is going to result in the third consecutive corner here for North Georgia. So it'll be Sandoval, who again sends it in. This one a little too strong, takes a couple bounces in the box, and Southwestern has no issue just sending that one to the clouds and into the bushes behind the treehouse here at the UNG soccer field. North Georgia keeping the pressure on. Here is Sandoval again in the corner. Got a couple defenders on him. Lara makes a skip pass to Daviena. Daviena now to DJ Shin. Shin takes the shot. Thompson tried to follow it up. Shot from Pais is in the back of the net. Pais strikes again and puts North Georgia up 2-1 with 18:09 to go. Pais has been the MVP of this game for North Georgia. 2 goals here for the Nighthawks. His first 2 in a North Georgia uniform, and his second couldn't have come at a bigger time for North Georgia, as the transfer from Reinhardt does it again, and North Georgia takes back the lead. That was just a sensational play there from Pais. Had all the real estate in the world to take the shot. That one deflected off a couple of Nighthawks, a couple of defenders in the box for Georgia Southwestern. And we mentioned that Pais led Reinhardt in goals in 2023 at 7 goals last season. He now has 2 goals here for North Georgia, his first 2 of the season. And what is easily his best game as a Nighthawk here through the first 6 games. So Georgia Southwestern will look to respond. Like we mentioned, North Georgia unable to maintain momentum for long periods of time this season. And they flip the script here on Southwestern, who just scored a few minutes ago. And the Nighthawks strike again. Southwestern will try to respond here. They've got the space to take the shot, and they do. This one too strong there from the Hurricanes. That shot soaring over the goal from Melendez. And Lukic just watches that one fly over his head. And that's the kind of answer that you want to see from North Georgia. We've heard this phrase mentioned a couple of times on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Our broadcaster, Devin Kupka, is kind of known for using this phrase, especially when talking about North Georgia men's soccer. Their bend but don't break mentality. Even when they're faced with the pressure, it doesn't matter who they're playing, whether it's Georgia Southwestern or a ranked team in Clayton State last season. North Georgia knows how to respond, and like we said in the opener too, North Georgia has kept every single one of their games, aside from the Converse matchup a couple of weeks ago, every single game has been competitive. This ball is crossed into the box, stays low. Ball is still bouncing around, as we will have a whistle going against North Georgia. The clock will stop as Ramirez is now down on the turf, and another Hurricane is also down in the box for Georgia Southwestern. And so the trainers will come out onto the field here to check on these 2 Hurricanes who hit the turf on the play. And on Georgia Southwestern's roster, they only have 1 more goalkeeper listed on their 2024 team. Nathan Grady, a freshman out of Tarpon Springs, Florida, is the last goalkeeper on the roster for Georgia Southwestern. It looks like Ramirez is up, though, on his feet. Great to see that he's all right, but the other Hurricane is still down on the turf. It was hard to see who hit the turf on that play for Georgia Southwestern. A couple of bodies hit the turf on that play, and you really cannot afford another player down in this game if you're Georgia Southwestern. It may be Damian Dominguez down on the turf. Again, hard to see exactly who it is for Georgia Southwestern. If it is Dominguez, then that is a big loss for Georgia Southwestern. The senior out of Homestead, Florida, has made some pretty dominant plays for Georgia Southwestern throughout the course of this game, especially defensively. He's listed as a midfielder, but he's really done a good job of cleaning up any sort of opportunities that North Georgia has had on these corners. And he is able to make it back up to his feet as he walks off the field. Again, glad to see that he is all right. So now GSW is going to have to go even deeper into their bench. We'll see who head coach Eric Crawford inserts into the game now. Both teams looking to make a substitution here. With 16:11 remaining in this first half, we are just on the outskirts of the clock being stopped if North Georgia decides to make a substitution. With 15 minutes to go, whoever is leading this game, or if it is tied, the clock will stop for substitutions for either the winning team or both squads if Southwestern finds a way to, again, get the equalizer. This Georgia Southwestern team, who has fired off 19 shots a game, has to look to make something happen here with 15:30 to go. They've got 7 so far in this game. One of them has found the back of the net. They've been very accurate on the few opportunities they have had. They've got to make something happen, and it's got to happen fast here as we now approach 15 minutes to go. Here is DJ Shin, who gives it back to Lukovic. Shin was credited with the assist on that previous Pais goal. Jensen leaves it on the turf. Daviena has some room, sends it in. That ball headed out of there. Another good opportunity here for North Georgia as this is collected by Southwestern. Again, another scary opportunity there. But Ramirez makes another stop. Ramirez credited with just one save since he's been on the field. Sandoval trying to find an open Nighthawk on the play. Southwestern cuts him off. Now the Hurricanes are on the run. And DJ Shin with the great play from behind to cut off that pass. The Nighthawks had numbers there on the play. Southwestern again will look to answer as a cleat flies off of Dante Johnson. Over there on the play, had a bit of a chuckle there with Alejandro Daviena after the two players collided. Results in a free kick here for Georgia Southwestern. It'll be Melendez to take it. Melendez hesitates. Now decides to send it in. Lukovic heads it out of there. Lara uses his chest, now his foot. As we are going to have a whistle going against Georgia Southwestern. And the clock will continue to roll. I believe that's Dominguez again hitting the turf. And the trainers will come back on. The clock will stop with 12:46 to go. So the Hurricanes just unable to catch a break here over these last few minutes as players are hitting the turf, and the momentum of this game has really come to a halt here over these last few minutes. So Southwestern having to operate on a bit of a shortened roster in this game as the athletic trainers are back out on the field. Check on, I believe it is Dominguez again. And historically in this matchup, North Georgia has had Georgia Southwestern's number, but the last handful of matchups between these two programs have been closer than what they were in years prior. All three of the ties between the Nighthawks and the Hurricanes all time have come during the last two seasons. Last year, North Georgia blew out Georgia Southwestern 5-0 during the regular season. That was really the only game of the last 3 years that wasn't close between these two teams. Every other matchup has either ended in a tie, gone to overtime, or ended in a nail-biter. So this Hurricanes team has proven, for the most part, that they can hang with the Nighthawks and are going to play them hard until the end. So definitely do not expect to see a blowout here in this game. It was going to be close regardless. Looks like we're in for another nail-biter here between North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern, as the injured Hurricane is able to make his way off the field. So Southwestern will make some substitutions with 12:47 to go. So will North Georgia. Will Bentley steps on the field for North Georgia, junior forward out of Northwich, England. Kanu Samuels on the field for Georgia Southwestern.
Northwich, England, number 19, Will Bentley.
Will Bentley, a fan favorite here amongst the Nighthawk faithful, a veteran on this North Georgia squad. Has appeared in 30 games during his first two seasons at UNG. Had 5 goals and 2 assists during his freshman and sophomore seasons. And if you've become accustomed to watching North Georgia men's soccer, Bentley, another one of those names that you are used to hearing time and time again. We had him on a North Georgia women's soccer broadcast a couple of weeks ago. Was a natural, his first time on the mic. So after the injury timeout, the clock will resume yet again. 12:45 to go. Southwestern needs to make something happen here to tie this game up. Another whistle and a foul. This is going to go against North Georgia. Southwestern is going to try to work quickly here on this free kick. Here's Oliveira Pais. Ball just went out of play, so it is going to be a North Georgia throw-in. And the matchup between North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern, like we were just mentioning, dates back 20 years. October 20th, 2004 was the first time these two programs faced off. Historically, the Nighthawks have had their way with the Hurricanes. North Georgia 19-3-3 all-time against Georgia Southwestern. They've beaten this team essentially more than every other program they've faced. USC Aiken is the only other school that North Georgia has beaten 19 times. And with almost an unblemished home record against Southwestern at home, 12-0-1 against the Hurricanes, history will tell you the Nighthawks are going to be in good shape here in this matchup. But again, you look at that 19-3-3 record for North Georgia against the Hurricanes, and you think that these games aren't close, but the last few years would say something different, as Romero almost kept it in play, but it is going to be Georgia Southwestern's ball. And a handful of these last few matchups between North Georgia and Georgia Southwestern ending in either close wins for North Georgia, score looking very similar to this, 2-1, or it's ending in a draw. These teams have gone to overtime multiple times as well. We won't go to overtime today if Georgia Southwestern is able to find another equalizer. The new overtime rules have stopped any overtime during the regular season. We will have OT once we get to PBC tournament time. Here is Sandoval, leaves it for Pais. And Pais is tripped up just inside the box, no call. And here is Aram Lara. And if Pais was able to draw the whistle there, could have been a hat trick for him. He was able to get the PK opportunity. This ball rolls right to the feet of Lukic. And North Georgia in no rush right now to try to make something happen. They can afford to bleed some clock here. Southwestern not really putting a whole lot of pressure on this back line here for North Georgia. Mikey Jensen makes his way downfield. Southwestern now has under 10 minutes to go to try to tie this game up. As we are going to have a whistle and a foul. A Hurricane hits the turf as Malloret goes down. Southwestern trying to work quickly on the free kick. Another few bodies hit the turf. DJ Shin goes down, along with Samuels for Southwestern. So the clock will stop with 8:35 to go as North Georgia makes a couple of substitutions. As Owen Wallace steps back on, along with Harris Osmond Basic.
Owen Wallace. And number 7, Harris Osmond Basic.
We mentioned in that first half, Owen Wallace has seen the field more than any Nighthawk this season. 415 minutes played for Owen Wallace coming into this matchup. Here's Harris Osmond Basic right into the game trying to make something happen. We're going to have a whistle going against Osmond Basic. May have been offsides there on the play, so it is going to be Georgia Southwestern's ball as we approach 8 minutes to go. Hurricanes trying to work quickly. And again, a good job by this North Georgia back line on that opportunity there. Pais makes the play. Here is Owen Wallace, another fresh pair of legs in the game. That ball just gets away from Dave Vienna, and a great job keeping that ball in play. That ball maybe just a few centimeters from rolling out of bounds for a free kick for Georgia Southwestern. That's just a savvy veteran move there from Alejandro De Viena. Here's Jorge Sandoval. Hasn't had much going here in the second half. Let's see if that changes here, as he just has pressure on him 24/7, 365. Every moment he's out there on the field for North Georgia, he is swarmed by 2, even 3 or 4 defenders. Southwestern regains possession. Now Sandoval gives it off to Lara. We've seen a lot of the Lara and Sandoval connection in this game. 2 great young players on this North Georgia roster. Sandoval, a freshman, Lara, a sophomore. Lara already a captain on this North Georgia squad. Very well respected by his teammates. Jensen at midfield. Again, North Georgia kind of taking the pressure off a little bit here as Osmond Basic trying to find Bentley over there on the far side. Ball rolls out of play. It will be Southwestern's ball. And the Hurricanes are going to make a substitution, but the clock will continue to roll. Another thing to take into account for this game is the Hurricanes have had a bit more time off than North Georgia to rest. Their last game coming last Sunday, 6 days ago. North Georgia coming off of their last game on Wednesday, just 3 days ago. Both of those coming with their pros and their cons. Southwestern with some fresher legs after not having played for almost a week, but North Georgia still locked into game mode, having just played on Wednesday in a tough road contest against Lander. Again, that was another game where North Georgia just fought hard for the full 90 minutes. After Lander scored their second and final goal of the game in the second half, North Georgia was able to put 6 shots on goal to try to mount a comeback. Couldn't come away with anything in that game. But still, you like to see the effort there from Coach Lilich's squad. The Nighthawks have an open Dave Vienna over there on the right side. Dave Vienna onside, has some room, takes the shot. Osmond Basic on the follow. Off the mark. Would have been an incredible play there by Harris Osmond Basic. Went horizontal on the header. That ball soars right. And keeps this game at 2-1. As we're going to have another whistle and a foul.
That's right, we are getting. That is so true.
And if you've been keeping up with North Georgia men's soccer since 2022, which was Osmond Basic's freshman season, you know he is no stranger to making highlight plays like that. Usually comes out on the finishing end of those. Southwestern with an opportunity. That ball deflects off the back of the foot of DJ Shin. As we're going to have another whistle. This one going against North Georgia. We were just talking about DJ Shin. This is his 5th appearance here in the 2024 season, but his first start as a Nighthawk as well. Free kick opportunity here for Georgia Southwestern, and a pretty good spot as they take the free kick, headed out of there for the time being by North Georgia. And again, another stellar stop by the Nighthawks back line. Here is Pais trying to find a streaking Lara. That ball just rolls out of play. Southwestern throws it in quickly now with 3 minutes to go.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Lara ends up with the ball again. Ball rolls out of play. Southwestern gets it in quickly. Two and a half to go, and you can hear the fans and the players here at the UNG soccer field saying to play the keeper. They can afford to play a bit of keep away here from Southwestern if you're North Georgia. No reason to put the pressure on. You could go for the dagger with 2:10 to go. But you're looking for the win one way or another, whether it comes with a 2-1 victory and just playing some keep away here from Georgia Southwestern. Here is Lukovic on the back line, and the Nighthawks do get this one back to Lukic. Have the pressure on there from Southwestern. Southwestern is looking to make something happen. Some fancy footwork doesn't pan out there for Melendez. Now a minute 35 to go. Clock does stop with a minute 40 remaining. This is just what Georgia Southwestern needs in this situation. Clock is stopped with a minute 40 to go with a free kick and a fantastic spot here. North Georgia's going to try to build the wall to get in the way of Southwestern here on the play. Melendez over there. Looks like he's going to be the one to take the free kick. As Melendez sends it in, and that's saved by Lukic. Haven't seen him tested much here in this game, but when he has, he's been up to the task as Lukic sends this one out of play. This will be a corner here for Georgia Southwestern. Clock continues to roll as this ball bounces out of play. Southwestern frustrated with themselves after that one, as this clock is going to get to under a minute remaining. Can't imagine North Georgia's going to make any more subs here in this one. So they try to bleed as much clock as possible. And Lukic is just going to send this one as far downfield as he possibly can. Now 30 seconds to go. North Georgia looking to secure their first home win of the 2024 season. We're a dominant team at home last year, looking to recapture some of that magic here in 2024. North Georgia looking to respond. Here is Will Bentley with room. Sandoval tried to go in for the dagger. Southwestern falls on top of it. Now 10 seconds left to try to tie this game up.
7, 6, 5, 4.
And the clock winds down. Ball rolls out of play, and that is gonna do it. The Nighthawks pick up a huge win at home, their first win at the UNG soccer field this season, and a rematch from last year's Peach Belt Conference Tournament quarterfinals again ends in a North Georgia victory over Georgia Southwestern, as the Nighthawks improve to 2-3-1 on the season and start to pick up some momentum as they head deeper into PBC play, as they hand Georgia Southwestern their first loss here in 2024. And if there was a player of the game, it would most certainly be Rafael Oliveira Pais, responsible for both of North Georgia's goals in this one. Had a PK in the first half and secured the North Georgia win in the second with a beautiful goal leading to the 2-1 victory for North Georgia. A great matchup here between these two PBC foes. North Georgia men's soccer will hit the road for another PBC matchup, this time against USC Aiken on Wednesday at 7 p.m. But don't go anywhere, because we have plenty of Nighthawks soccer still to come, as North Georgia women's soccer takes the field for their first PBC matchup of the season against USC Aiken, with that game coming up in about 30 to 40 minutes. On behalf of the rest of the NSN team, this is Robert D. Clementi saying thanks so much for watching. Take a break, grab a snack, and come back. Game 2 of our North Georgia soccer doubleheader is up next on the Nighthawk Sports Network.